Morning, David. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Celine?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you.
Exactly, October 31st. Great way to start off the day talking to my friend and my colleague, David Prell-Eron. Am I saying that right?
Prelly Aaron.
David Prelly-Aaron. I did not know that. Okay, David Prelly-Aaron. So nice to
Yeah.
meet you. Tell us who you are and what you do.
So I am an attorney. I own and operate a small law firm in Wichita, Kansas. We've got three lawyers, and we focus on bankruptcy and business-related legal issues.
Okay, and you started the firm?
I did. I started the firm. It's been 16 years ago now.
Awesome. Me too, actually. Yeah, we are
Wow.
our careers. Yeah, my
We're like
daughter's
twins.
16. We're twins. Yeah, I remember when I first met, it was like our practices are identical. Yeah, my daughter's 16, so it was 2009, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. When did you graduate from law school?
2002. So I went to
Yes.
the University of Iowa Law School
Hmm.
and graduated in '02 and then moved back to my home state of California to practice.
Okay, California. And but now you're situated. What town are you in right now?
Wichita, Kansas. So
And is
I
yeah.
moved here in 2006 to take a job with the U.S. Trustee's office. As you'll probably
Mhm.
remember, BAP-CIPA had
Yeah.
just passed. And so
Hmm.
I wanted a kind of a place to be able to learn the new law, and I thought the U.S. Trustee's office would be a great place to do that.
Okay. And then what inspired you to start your own?
I think being working for the government, being with the U.S. Trustee's office, made me realize that my heart was really in representing clients, especially debtors. Really enjoyed representing debtors, and decided to go out to practice. Talk to a couple of other law firms, and
Hmm.
just realized that I kind of wanted to do things my own way. And really, at that point, I've been practicing 7 years, and I thought, I really want to stake out and start something that kind of reflects me. So,
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I was the same way with debtor work. I really leaned toward it and I liked it. Although now I'm branching out into more creditor work. What percentage of your practice is debtor? What percentage is creditor?
so I've kind of got a three-legged practice where I do not only bankruptcy but also civil litigation and also commercial transactional work. And
Hmm.
so that's bankruptcy probably represents, 50% of what I do, 50 to 60% of what I do. And then of
Yeah.
that, I do probably 30% of that is probably creditor work and
Hmm.
70% is probably debtor work. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing, same exact thing. So where you're licensing Kansas, California? We're all.
Yeah, I'm inactive in California. I've kept my license there because, taking and passing the bar in California is not the easiest thing in the world. So
Yeah.
I understand it's getting harder with the sort of disaster that is their bar exam now, but
Yeah.
I've decided to just keep it, but it's inactive, so it's just Kansas.
Okay. And then how many people do you have working for you?
So we have two. I have two other lawyers in the law firm, a partner and an associate, and then we have four staff members.
Okay. So I've met David through the American Board of Certification. He's board certified in business bankruptcy. When did you get certified?
Got certified in 2015. And
Okay.
by the way, you're being a little bit modest when you say we met through the ABC because we're both
Yeah.
on the board, but you had just started out as the marketing chair, and then
Yeah.
we were talking, and then you said, "Hey, you've got these great ideas. Why don't you go be the membership chair?" Which didn't exist at that point. So, thanks for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm so happy you've taken that over and I just love your energy. I'm like, this is really somebody I'd love to know. And the more I've gotten to know you and your family and your wife, like I'm so happy and privileged. It makes me happy to be a lawyer, honestly. Like I really value what we do and I love meeting people like you. I just,
No,
you
I
see
feel
yourself in other people.
I,
What's
I
that?
see I see that the exact same way. Like it
Yeah.
makes the practice of law and what we do so much more multidimensional and
Mm.
enjoyable and rewarding to, and the friendships that we have on the board. We've got just a wonderful board of directors, and you
Yeah.
meet people from around the country. So meeting people out, more Eastern folks like yourself, like Trish Fugere and other
Mhm.
people like that, and people on the West Coast like our current president Brian Davidoff,
Yeah.
our past president Randy, all these people forming these just great relationships with people, seeing
Mhm.
how people really practice, but also how they live and all the different facets of who they are and what makes them go.
Mhm.
Just incredible people. We have just a really rich tapestry of personalities in the practice, and especially I would say on our ABC board.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get into all the things that you do because I love it. It's inspiring. But I do want to like just be clear about the business work, just so that because part of these videos is basically a promo for you and your work. And I'm happy and privileged to do that. And I learn from it when I do the video. Tell.
So farm bankruptcy is kind of, and this is funny as a Los Angeles kid who wouldn't have had a clue about farming, but farm bankruptcy has become a specialty of mine. I
Mhm.
actually currently represent, I think it was 45% of all Chapter 12 debtors in the state of Kansas,
Oh,
and
wow.
represented a number of creditors as well in those cases. So I'm actually
Mhm.
involved in more than 50% of all Chapter 12 cases in the state.
Wow.
And so the ideal client for me is a farmer who's having some difficulties with cash flow and needs to restructure some debt long term. Maybe has some capital gains taxes that they're going to have from selling assets or loss recapture taxes that we
Mhm.
can discharge in Chapter 12. It's the only place in the bankruptcy you can do that. It's my absolute favorite chapter of bankruptcy is Chapter 12. It's just like the miracle chapter, and I love being a Chapter 12 practitioner.
I love it. Tell us about a memorable client engagement.
Probably the most memorable would be another of those Chapter 12 cases, farmer in a long family dispute, and his life was just kind of in a shambles in the middle of a divorce. He had young kids. We ended up helping him get his life back on track, not just restructuring debt, but really restructuring his life. And he became a friend of the family. I've got a picture of him in my living room holding my newborn son, who's now 11. And he's just continued to be a friend of our family and trusted us. And that means a lot to me when clients value our relationship enough that they want to be friends. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just got invited to one of my clients' Halloween parties. I couldn't
Yeah.
make it because I couldn't get a babysitter, but it's such a compliment. It's like, yeah, I enjoy hanging out with you too. I was on the treadmill this morning, listening to a podcast, and they were talking about basically being like a coach, so to speak, in your professional work. And I love what you said because this is a podcast about turning around and pivoting. I'm going on a line here with my line of questionings, but when you're in a situation like for that particular client and they've got personal distress, business distress all the way around, so what's your approach, or do you have advice for people in that kind of scenario or clients? What would you say, both on the personal side and the professional side, when someone's in that kind of situation?
99 times out of 100, whatever you're dealing with in that particular moment is not the end of the universe. And it gets to be the end of the universe when you sort of have that, look down a tunnel perspective, and that's all that you see in front of you. If you can just expand your perspective to really open up that narrow tube to see all of the other things that you have in your life besides that one thing, you start to realize that this is something small in the grand scheme of things, whether that's in the grand scheme of what you have in your family, what you have in your community, what you have in the world, what you have in eternity. These are relatively small things. And so when you start to open your perspective to see all of the other things around you, you stop focusing on that one giant problem.
That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. I think that a lot of our clients, when they are in financial distress, I'm like, it is only money. Like it's money. It's not
Yeah.
your health. It's not, but it's so hard for them to separate themselves from the business failure or whatever.
You, you and I are very lucky to practice in this particular area of law
Mhm.
because I say that same exact thing to my clients
Mhm.
almost every time I first meet a client is
Mhm.
it's only money. And before people jump and say, well, you can, people love to say, well, you say that because you have it, and I don't.
Yeah.
But I immediately go, I could be a personal injury attorney. I could
Mhm.
be dealing with people that are facing catastrophic injuries, being paraplegics, quadriplegics. I could be a criminal attorney dealing with people who are
Mhm.
going to lose their freedom and spend the rest of their life behind bars or the next 3 years behind bars. And what happens to your life in that case? I could be a family law attorney who's dealing with somebody that is about to lose access to their children and the people that they love most in the universe. We really are very fortunate, Celine, that we deal with people that are in financial distress. And of all the types of distress that you can think of, that's one of the easiest to deal with, and especially when you have access to something like the bankruptcy system, which is really, even when you look around the world, a good friend of mine, Chris Redman, he helps other countries draft bankruptcy laws, and
Yeah.
so he's constantly working with the UN and with other
Mhm.
governments in different parts of the world to draft bankruptcy laws. The United States has one of the most incredible bankruptcy systems. It's like a giant trapeze or safety net
Mhm.
for a
Yes.
trapeze act, and it's just wonderful for people. So I feel privileged to be a part of it.
Yeah. Me too. I love how you've worded that. Um, ChatGPT, by the way, pulls out show notes, quotes. It's the best. I love it.
Okay.
See, yeah, I think you've already put some really good quotes in here. So, who inspired you, or what inspired you to pursue this particular path, and has it evolved over time?
You know, my inspiration was my mentor. When I graduated law school, I was convinced I was going to be a class A litigator. I was going to be in there just banging around fighting. I now really dislike litigation, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I wanted to do. And my soon-to-be mentor constantly approached me each day and told me how much he appreciated my hard work. And he was the chair of the bankruptcy practice group at the law firm I was at in California. And he would flatter me and tell me I'd make a great bankruptcy lawyer, and I just rebuffed him at every chance I could get. And he walked in one day and he said, "I've got great news for you, David. I've talked with the managing partner of the firm, and you've been assigned to the bankruptcy department." And I just thought, this is terrible. But he was and remains a good friend and just a wonderful human being who focused on people and not just what we did, not just the practice of law, but he focused on people and he focused on me and helped me set goals to become not just a bankruptcy lawyer, but a great bankruptcy lawyer. And so he would inspire me by saying, "Hey, you should go get certified." In fact, he's the person who inspired me to get certified. And you should do things that would lead you to become a member of the American College of Bankruptcy. But he would also inspire me to connect with my clients. And he had these wonderful sayings. One of my favorite that I'll share with you,
Mhm.
and I've shared with a lot of people. It's very popular in Kansas now.
Mhm.
Is I would get frustrated with my debtor clients, and I'm sure
Mhm.
you've had that experience. We all have if you represent debtors. And
Mhm.
he would always stop me and he would say, "David, don't ever forget debtors are debtors for a reason."
Mhm.
And what the message was really, and sometimes he would really put this into words. The message was, you're here to help people in the midst of the troubles that they have. Many of them are self-caused, self-created, but you wouldn't have this job if they
Mhm.
didn't have those problems. And so
Yeah.
almost being grateful for the problems that people have and even the problems they create for themselves, being
Yeah.
grateful that we're in a position to help them through that. By the way, 25 years later, I still have to go back to that and remind myself of that. Remember,
Mhm.
this is a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely. So we met through the American Board of Certification. Can you tell me about your involvement with that and how it
Yeah.
shaped your journey as an attorney?
Well, sure. I mean, I've throughout my career, I've been focused on excellence. I met up with another person who was on the board, who was
Mhm.
leaving the board, and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in serving on the board? I really need someone to take my place." I said, absolutely. And my approach to board service has always been that
Mhm.
it's not something to just put on a resume. It's something that if you take that responsibility to be on a board,
Hmm.
you're there to contribute, to serve. And so the ABC has just been a great opportunity for that. And of course, getting connected with you on the marketing committee, talking about different ideas, and then at your invitation, hey, do you want to jump in and start a membership committee to really provide service to the members of the ABC, and kind of our mission as the membership committee is to say, what can we do for the people who are certified specialists? What would make them want to be certified specialists? What would make them want to remain certified specialists? And how do we meet them where they're at? Because they really are our constituents.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for your service in that. It's been really good. Thank you.
And you too. Thank you.
It's fun. I love doing this. So, okay. What we talked about one of your distressed business clients, the farmer, but do you have just general advice for distressed debtors and then advice for creditors as well?
I would say that the advice is to seek counsel early.
Hmm.
A lot of times, folks, they get in that sort of narrow focus, and they don't think long term about how does this work out eventually? How am I going to get out of this? It's making short term decisions. Having a lawyer involved early helps avoid that, and helps you stop spilling milk.
Hmm.
Once that milk is spilled, as you know, a lot of times it's hard for us to undo that.
Yeah, for sure. Can you give us a rundown of a successful turnaround that you led? Say the name, of course, but can you describe the business, the catalyst for distress, and the steps you took to turn it around?
Sure. The one that comes to mind is I don't want to give too much away here. So
Yeah.
it was in a manufacturing sector
Hmm.
business, had a bank that had called notes based on perceived insecurity, not actual defaults in terms of payment and things like that. And then, in a way, and I love being able to do this, calling the bank on sometimes the banks get too far ahead of themselves, came in, filed the Chapter 11, realized that the debt was actually underwater. They didn't have the collateral to support the debt, which the bank, of course, recognized and saying that it was insecure. So they took a
Hmm.
debt that was actually performing, forced them into my office to actually take a serious look at the overall debt structure, and we were able to strip down a lot of that debt.
Hmm.
The company did not have enough debt service to provide payment to unsecured creditors, so we were able to shed a great deal of secured liabilities, restructure, come on the back end. The company's still thriving, and those are the kind of things that you go. People have jobs because
Yeah.
we were able to do what we do
Was that in a Chapter 11 proceeding?
in a Chapter 11. That's right.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. What's one mistake you see people make when facing financial adversity, and how can they avoid it?
I would say that they make the mistake of not thinking long term and not thinking broadly. They make the mistake of focusing just on the problem and the short term solutions, kind of what I've just talked about,
Yeah.
instead of big picture, how and thinking how did we get here too. I see a lot of that. Folks come into my office with,
Mhm.
here's the problem that's in front of me. How do I fix that problem? A lot of times, what we have to do is say, well, wait a second, how did we get to this problem? Because that's
Mhm.
really where the problem is, right? Is the problem that led to the problem that you didn't think of,
Yeah.
you didn't see. That's how we ended up facing. So it's really, if you think about it, like in a sense, we're doctors in a way. We have causes and then we have symptoms. And
Mhm.
what we want to get to as the doctors is what are the causes, not just either
Right.
the symptoms, but the actual root cause.
I love that quote. The people who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. I love
Right.
that quote. That's
Yep.
true. And one of the businesses here on the consumer side, their business name is actually called the Debt Doctors.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna talk. We've talked about um, uh, professional situations, but I'd like to talk to maybe a little bit more. It could be personal or professional, but what's a pivot moment that either professional or personal that changed the way you approach your work or your life?
Yeah, I'd go back to moving from California to the U.S. Trustee's office, and then
Mhm,
working in the for the government for 3 years, and then pivoting to start my own firm. That was a huge
mhm,
pivot moment for me, and
mhm,
really changed my approach in terms of recognizing just how much it meant to me to work for a client and to provide that service. And that is something that sort of defines me. And I think different people are motivated by different things, right?
mhm,
For me, working for the government made me realize that I didn't have a heart for that. I didn't have a passion for that. Being
mhm.
able to help people in where they were and change their situation, it meant enough to me that I gave up a good paying job with a guaranteed paycheck to go open a law firm. Right? I can't say anything more than that to show kind of what that meant to me and how that helped me recognize that.
And we could do a whole other podcast on running your own law practice, but do you have any advice for, I just had a friend of mine, I met him in Spain, and he just launched his own, a young guy. And we had a conversation about launching his own practice, and he did it just like a few weeks ago. And I think one of our other colleagues also just launched his own bankruptcy law firm. Do you have any advice for running a firm?
Yes, running a firm is not practicing law. This is something that's applicable to owning a business of any type, right? It doesn't matter if you're a
Mhm,
construction business, a dental office, it doesn't matter.
mhm.
Running the business is a whole different job, and you have to be prepared for that job. And that means sitting down and saying, okay, I now have two jobs, or alternatively, in some ways, what I did, I'm going to hire somebody to do that second job. And
Yeah.
I did. I eventually married her. But I hired the first person I ever hired was a firm manager who
Hmm.
would handle the taking care of things like payroll and taxes and doing budgeting and bookkeeping and all of those sorts of things that go into that. And
Hmm.
then sitting down and actually reviewing those things. We have monthly financial meetings in my firm
Hmm.
where my business manager slash wife and my partner, we all sit down, we look at the profit and loss, we look at the balance sheet, we look at where our revenues are coming from, we look at what our monthly expenses are. We adjust every single month, we adjust the budget. Those are
Hmm.
things that, as a professional, doing whatever it is that you do, you don't do those things normally. And so
Hmm.
you have to really rethink this is a completely different job. And if you're good at what you do, that's awesome. But
Yeah.
if you're not good at that other role of being a business owner, you're going to
Yeah.
fail. So
Right. Yeah. That's good advice for our clients too. Uh,
it is, I give that advice to
yeah.
clients all the time. Like that, and a lot of times that's why they fail because they started a business because they were very good at what they did. I'm a great dentist. I want to
Yeah.
own my own dentist office. So they start a business from that perspective and they don't stop and think, oh, I'm jumping into a field I know nothing about or I've never
Right.
done before.
Yeah.
So refocusing on that is a big part of what we do.
Yeah, for sure. I did an MBA before law school, and that's a whole other subject matter. But yeah, I love running the business of. I love the business of love running my law firm. It's like fun for me. I'm like, this is
Good.
not work, but it's definitely time. It takes time.
Yep.
How do you define success at this stage in your career and in your life? And has that definition changed over time?
Well, it's definitely changed over time. The early on, I think achieving professional success was, getting AV rated and being a super lawyer and best lawyers in America and getting
Hmm.
certified and getting into the college and all of
Hmm.
those sorts of things were a huge part of success for me. You get to a certain point, you've achieved those goals, and then you start looking around, going, okay, now I do have to. And I'm probably in the middle of a kind of a pivot moment of adjusting that right now and
Hmm.
adjusting those perspectives. I Watching my kids succeed is a huge marker of success for me. Being the best grandpa I can be,
Hmm.
spending time with my ailing mother, planning for the future with my wife, spending more time at church, trying to live in a spirit of gratitude. Those are I think ways that I'm looking at success now that maybe I didn't as a younger person.
I love that answer. Do you have any lessons that midlife has given you that your younger self didn't have? Perspectives or lessons?
Yeah, be more conscious about your decisions and where you spend time and who you spend time with.
Hmm.
Um, be more conscientious about those things and purposeful.
I like that. And lastly, with this is all these personal questions. What role, this is from ChatGPT, by the way. Thank you, ChatGPT, for these questions. What role do purpose, connection, or community, you can pick one, play in your happiness today? Purpose, connection, or community?
I very important. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge role.
Yeah.
The that is, I mean, I don't want to discount. First of all, I don't want to discount my professional life and the role that it plays in my happiness. It
Yeah.
is a significant role because it we spend so much of our time doing our job.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm more than that, and we're all more than that. And so if I really am going to step back, I have in my office, I have a little triptych, which is a religious icon sitting in my
Hmm.
office to
Hmm.
remind me that my relationship with Jesus and my understanding of my purpose as a child of God is the most important thing, and that it needs to be over all of those things.
Hmm.
Connecting with my wife, especially in our shared Catholic faith,
Hmm.
plugging into our church family through Bible studies, service opportunities. We go out and we build houses for Habitat for Humanity, and we raise funds for the disabled, and all of those things. I act in a church play that we put on to raise money for our local soup kitchen. So every
Hmm.
year we raise $150,000 for our soup kitchen with this play that we put
Wow.
on, and
That's a lot of
um,
money. Yeah,
it's a
that's good.
silent auction. It's a really big affair, and so I
Uh,
spend 3-4 months a year preparing to for
mhm.
whatever role I have in that musical. And so
Wow.
all of these things just play such a huge role in terms of community and connection in
Mhm.
happiness.
I love that. Are you a singer?
No, no, and I don't recommend showing up to a play to listen to me sing, because that's definitely an actor, perhaps. I think to some degree,
Okay.
lawyers that go to court are always actors, but
Yeah.
singing is not great. It's not nearly as bad as my dancing, though. So,
Well, I want to see some video of the play. You have to send me like a
oh,
link.
okay.
Come on, just
I'll
like a little snippet.
I'll see what I can find.
Okay. All right. I've got 10 rapid fire questions. Something most people don't know about you.
I am scuba certified.
Okay. Where have you last scuba
The
dove?
last place I was Beaver Lake, Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you see there in the lake?
It's giant carp. There's actually, it's kind of like a fun scuba little place. We have like all sorts of stuff down under the water, skeletons riding bicycles, and all sorts of
Ah,
stuff that are sunk down at the bottom of the lake.
how fun. What do you do in your free time?
Travel.
Where did you go last?
Ireland was, I mean, technically, if you wanted to get local, there's lots of other places, but the last big trip was Ireland. I was there in August watching my alma mater, Iowa State University, play against my daughter's alma mater, Kansas State University. So me and my kids all went to Ireland to watch the big game.
That's fun. There was a Steeler game there too, I guess. In
Yes,
Ireland. Yes.
that's right.
What brings you uh, flow or joy or peace?
Prayer.
Yeah, love that. Do you have a favorite Netflix or streaming show?
Seinfeld.
Love that. Best vacation or bucket list trip?
Whew. Probably Italy, because I got to go for an anniversary trip with my wife last year, and we
Hmm.
went to Rome, Florence, and Venice, and it was spectacular.
Awesome. We went to, I think I told you, we went to Naples this summer
That
and
is so
Capri.
cool.
Have you
Yeah,
been to Capri?
I have not.
It's my favorite. That's
All
my favorite.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's on my
That,
list now.
yeah. You have to take your wife. It's so romantic. I love it. My kids loved it too.
Okay.
Best gift you've ever received.
So, other than my wedding ring, which I've got to say was the best, probably my daughter for my birthday. My second daughter
Hmm.
sent me one year a very long text message, like one of those 2-page long text messages,
Uh-huh.
telling me no gift, no card, just a text message telling me why she thought I was the greatest dad ever. And this is my,
Uh-huh.
at the time she was like 25 years old. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, I cried. It was awesome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is awesome. My daughter sent me one too this year. I was like, oh, yeah, birthday was a little crazy. I was in CBJ. Were you there?
No, I didn't go. In Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Yeah, that's where I spent my birthday, but it was fun. I got a lot of free dinners because I kept dropping that it was my birthday. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll pay for this and that," and I was like, "Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah."
Absolutely. Flaunt it if you
Um,
got it.
exactly. Last song you listened to, if you
Blue
listen to songs.
skies. Blue skies. My 11-year-old, who's the only child I have left in the house, he's an actor, a singer, and he's absolutely an audiophile, and so he gets obsessed with whatever's going on in whatever play he's acting in right now, or whatever plays he's watching. And so he was playing Blue Skies this morning, multiple different versions, and then singing it, and he was definitely singing it better than Willie Nelson was singing it. So
Wow, I like that song too. Um, last podcast or audiobook, if you listen to them.
Bible in a Year, Father Mike.
Yeah. Do you have kids and do you have a pet?
I got a few kids, so I got 7 kids, 5 grandies, and 2 cats.
Nice. So, two cat and what? Five what?
5 grandies, five
What's
grandkids.
oh Grandies. Okay. There was this
Yeah, it's
video.
all the rage now, Celine. All the young people now call it grandies.
Grandies? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I think you're younger than I am and you have five Grandies.
Is that right?
I think you're younger. I'm
Okay.
51.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Are
Yes.
you? Are you younger?
Absolutely. Yes, I
Oh
am.
my God. And you have five Grandies. But you also have an 11-year-old. Like we have these young kids.
That's right.
I saw this Instagram meme, and this, and it was like this woman, and she had a laundry list of things that, like, it would be daunting for a new boyfriend or her boyfriend to want to take on. She was like, I'm broke. He's like, I got bread. She's like, I got 7 kids. He's like, I'll be their daddy now. It was just this laundry list of bad stuff. She's like, I like to fight. He's like, we gonna fight. She's like, it was just ridiculous, and we used to watch it all the time. Um, because I'm also, I know you were married once before, and
Yep.
I am too. So it's like the blended family situation.
Right.
Um, Okay, these are my last pivot questions. Okay, I promise there's only four. Okay, a pivot you're most proud of.
Pivoting from being a parent to a grandparent.
Oh, a practice that keeps you grounded.
Ooh, riding my bicycle.
Okay. A principle that guides your decisions.
I am only here for a short time. Eternity is a very long time.
Love that. And lastly, a person who's changed your trajectory.
My wife, she has definitely changed my trajectory in a lot of ways. And I'm going to share one of those ways that
Yeah.
I remember. So I was, yeah, as a younger man, I was significantly more hot-headed. And I remember one time when we were first together, we were driving to a movie and we started fighting about something. I don't even remember
Mm-hmm.
what at this point. This
Mm-hmm.
was before we were married. And I was all upset and I was angry and I was like, that's it. I'm turning this car around. I'm not going to a movie with you. And I literally turned the car around. And instead of getting mad or yelling at me, she stopped and she said, honey, I want you to stop for a second. I want you to just think right now in your heart, is this that important to you? Is this important enough for you to be this angry about? And she
Yeah.
was just quiet and calm and not mad. And I couldn't help but stop and actually think about that. And it pulled me right out of my anger. And I was like, I am so sorry. We'll go to the movie. I'm being an
Awesome.
idiot. And it was that moment, I've told her this before, it was that moment that I said, I'm gonna marry this woman. Because
Ah,
anybody who can pull me out of that type of anger and turn me back from that,
yeah.
that's awesome.
I love that. My ChatGPT list has one more question. Finally, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone at a crossroads, ready for their next pivot?
Talk to somebody you trust. Share with somebody that you trust, a good decision maker,
Mhm.
and use that person as a sounding board.
That's excellent advice. David, thank you so much.